Alright, good day. Hi, no, okay, don't bounce off the road. Okay, so that tractor trailer with the excavator on there just passed me, right? Just so he can slow down for the road construction. He was obviously speeding because I was doing the speed limit. See, you passed me. These two guys passed me for nothing. What is that? Dump truck? What the heck's going on here? Well, at least if they're patching up this, I don't mind. This is like the worst stretch of highway. The divots here, especially in the winter time, that'll bounce you off the road. Pave, you bastards, pave. That's they're doing it the old-fashioned way, eh? I used to have to do it that way. Paving in the fall, well, paving is just nasty work no matter what. Not just the fumes, it's just the heat. The heat's the big one, right? There's gonna be a traffic jam on the way back. Is that what they're telling me? There's a taxi up here? Okay. So I'm on my way to pay my credit card and the phone bill and the internet, that type of thing. And I've been doing some thinking. You know, like thinking about, like, you know, where my business is going to go and stuff like that for next year. And someone's going down the dirt road. They're not fixing the road, they're just patching it. They're buggers. Would you just fix it already? Jeez. I've been thinking about different chainsaws that I would like to have, right? And I told you guys about the 500i. You guys probably are, if you're into chainsaws, you know about the 500i. I know right now the chainsaw stuff might not be exciting to all you guys, but I find it kind of fun. And, you know, it's something to talk about, whatever. A boot. Say it right. A boot. You know, I'm one of those guys that, like, I don't just run out and buy something. I really think about, you know, tool to the job. Is it what I need? Is it the best bang for the buck? You know, and even if it's not the cheapest thing, is it like, okay, yeah, but that's exactly what I need. And a tip I could give you guys for buying a chainsaw. What kind of chainsaw are you going to need? Well, first is what kind of cutting you're going to do, right? The first answer to that is not sure. Okay, well then go take a walk in the bush and look at the average size of the average tree, what you're most likely to be cutting down, whether it's for stove wood or whatever, right? And that'll tell you a lot about what you're going to need. Right there. That'll be like, in general, you're going to need this size of a bar to go through that size of a tree, right? So I started thinking about that, like the 500i, if I was into commercial stove wood, yeah, you would, if you were working for somebody else, it doesn't matter. You don't need that much saw. You just don't. If you're working for yourself, the faster time, well, the faster you can produce wood, the more money you can make, right? So it depends on how you're paid on this. So then it comes down to weight versus power, right? Or power to weight. What's going to give you a decent cutting versus, you know, something you can live with carrying for 8, like if you have to carry a heavy saw for 8 hours, or a lighter saw for 8 hours, it doesn't matter how fast the saw really cuts, does it? You have to carry it for 8 hours, right? For the day or whatever your time is, 6 hours, 8 hours, is what it is, right? It is what it is. So I look at that, like I usually, a chainsaw day for me is not an 8-hour day. Very rarely it's an 8-hour day, but I don't normally do stove wood. I'm more of a falling guy, right? So I get a tree that a client has that's a pain in the ass and, you know, whatever. They want that tree gone. So I'm more going to be a falling guy. So the speed of the saw is, like I say, when you're falling trees, the speed of the saw is not really as critical. More than, you know, does it have the power to do it, right? And a saw that seems to make the most sense to me from Stihl is the MS400C, because it's lighter than the 500. It's heavier than the 392, but it's like a hot rod saw. It's like a hot rodded 392, 67 cc's, right? And it's got that magnesium piston in it, which is really cool. It's the first of its kind, kind of. How am I doing for time? Yeah. And what's cool about that is it gives you a saw that doesn't weigh a ridiculous amount. So I might go into the Stihl shop really quickly today just to compare it, right, to the 500. But then I also thought, well, what if I do want more power? Well, the 500 still doesn't make sense to me when you can get the 660. If you're going for more power anyway, especially as a falling saw, the 661, yeah, it's a lot heavier. But if it's a falling saw, you're probably not going to be carrying it for 8 hours a day. You know what I mean? Like, you're going to fall your trees and do the butt blocks. Need metal there? Not too much metal. Do the butt blocks, and then you're gonna, you know, that'll be the end of it. You know what I mean? You'll grab the smaller saw to finish off the tree. So I think a good compromise is the 400. You know, it's cheaper. What would take the 400 10 seconds to cut through the 500i, I'll probably cut through in about 7.5. So it has about 3/4 the cutting speed on average as the this must be the metal pickup day. Shit, I wish my truck was working. Yeah, so it has about 3/4 the cutting speed as the 500i. That's good enough. You know, that's good enough, right? And everybody that seems to have them seems to really like them. They're like, yeah, it's like a great mid-level saw. It is really truly in the middle of the road. It's big enough without being too big, and it's small enough without being too small. Because like I've used the Husky 392, that's my buddy Paul's, and the 272 is just the older version of it, right? Time, yeah. And those saws are great, but they're heavy as hell. Like they're you know, if you don't need a 72cc saw for most trees, like all these trees right here, none of them require a 72cc saw. None of them. I could do all that with my MS260, all of it. Why? Because I've done that. It'll do it a little bit slower. But once you get down to a certain branch size, it doesn't really matter. Oh, is that who I think it is? No, it's not. I thought that was Amanda. It's not Amanda. Every time I see a shiny red ram, it's usually her. So, but anyway, yeah. So the 400 makes a lot more sense as a livable saw for everything, where the 392 would probably be fine for around here for most things. Again, your average tree is probably about that size around here, right? The reason why the trees are not ginormous around here, well, I'll explain that in the next video.